Rain hammered the silent countryside as a worn red pickup crawled through mud, its engine tired, just like the man behind the wheel. He was a poor farmer, hands rough from years of work, eyes carrying quiet pain, yet his heart still held kindness. The world hadn't broken. Before we dive in, let us know in the comments what time is it and where are you watching from. Let's start. The road ahead twisted into darkness, and suddenly, through the rain, he saw a fragile old woman standing alone, soaked and trembling. She looked lost, her thin clothes clinging to her, her face pale with fear, as if life itself had pushed her to the very edge. He slowed the truck, hesitation flickering in his eyes, because in a world this harsh, trust often came with a heavy price. But something about her helpless stance reminded him of his late mother, and that memory softened the walls he had built around himself. Without another thought, he pulled over, rain splashing harder as he leaned across and opened the passenger door for her. She hesitated, studying his face, as if measuring his soul in a single glance, before slowly stepping into the truck. Water dripped from her clothes onto the cracked seat, but he didn't care, not even for a second, because dignity mattered more than comfort. As the truck moved again, silence filled the space between them, heavy but not uncomfortable, like two broken stories crossing paths. He asked softly where she needed to go, his voice calm, unaware that this simple act would soon change his entire life forever. The old pickup moved slowly through the storm, its headlights cutting weak lines through the heavy rain and endless darkness ahead. The farmer glanced at the woman beside him, noticing her shaking hands, her silence speaking louder than any words she could say. He reached behind and pulled out an old blanket, worn but clean, gently placing it over her shoulders without asking anything in return. She looked at him with surprise, her eyes softening, as if kindness was something she hadn't felt in a very long time. For a moment she tried to speak, but her voice trembled, lost between fear, exhaustion, and something deeper she kept hidden. He told her she didn't need to explain anything, his tone simple, honest, like a man who understood pain without needing details. The rain grew heavier, hitting the roof harder, as if the world outside wanted to drown every quiet moment happening inside that truck. She finally whispered, "A destination, a small town miles away," her voice fragile, like each word carried a weight she couldn't share. He nodded and adjusted the wheel, choosing a longer, rougher road, knowing it would take hours, but never once thinking to refuse. As they drove, he spoke about his small farm, his struggles, and how life had never been easy, but he never complained. She listened carefully, her expression changing slowly, as if each word he spoke was breaking something inside her, piece by piece. Outside, lightning flashed across the sky, and for a brief second her face revealed a secret she wasn't ready to show him yet. The storm refused to slow, and the muddy road grew worse, forcing the farmer to grip the wheel tighter with every passing mile. The old woman watched him quietly, noticing how he never cursed his situation, never blamed the rain, just kept moving forward. She asked him why he stopped for her, her voice cautious, as if the answer mattered more than anything else in that moment. He paused for a second, then smiled faintly, saying, "No one deserves to be left alone in a storm, no matter who they are." Her eyes filled with emotion, but she quickly looked away, hiding something deeper, something heavier than just simple gratitude. The truck suddenly jolted hard as it hit a deep patch of mud, the tires spinning uselessly while rain poured even stronger. He stepped out into the storm without hesitation, his clothes instantly soaked, pushing against the truck with all his strength. She watched from inside, shocked, as he struggled alone, refusing to give up even when the mud seemed determined to trap him. After several exhausting attempts, the truck finally broke free, and he climbed back in, breathing heavily but still calm and steady. She handed him a small cloth to wipe his face, her hands trembling slightly, as if this moment meant more than it should. He thanked her with a nod, unaware that every action of his was being quietly judged by eyes that had seen the world's worst. Far ahead, faint lights from a distant town appeared, but neither of them knew that the real storm was only just beginning. The faint town lights grew closer, glowing softly through the rain, but an uneasy silence settled between them like a warning. Neither spoke aloud. The farmer slowed the truck near a small roadside diner, its flickering sign barely alive, offering warmth in the middle of nowhere. He turned to her gently and said she should eat something warm, even if it was simple, because storms are harder on an empty stomach. She hesitated, as if unused to being cared for, then slowly nodded, her eyes studying him with a quiet, growing curiosity. Inside, the diner was nearly empty, just a tired waitress and a radio playing softly, the smell of soup filling the air. He ordered 2 bowls without asking her preference, paying with the little cash he had, never thinking twice about the cost. She noticed the worn bills in his hand, the careful way he counted them, and something inside her shifted, heavy with realization. As they sat, she asked about his family, her voice softer now, as if she was stepping closer into his world, piece by piece. He spoke of loss, of long days alone, of dreams that never came true, yet he never sounded bitter, only quietly strong. Her eyes grew moist again, but this time she didn't hide it completely, as if his honesty was breaking down her guarded walls. Outside, the rain continued to fall, but inside that small diner, 2 very different lives were slowly beginning to understand each other. And somewhere, deep within her silence, a decision was forming, one that would soon change not only his life, but her own forever. They stepped back into the storm after the meal, the farmer insisting she keep the blanket even as the cold wind cut through him. She protested softly, but he refused with a gentle smile, saying he was used to hardship, but she didn't have to suffer tonight. As they drove again, her eyes lingered on him longer, as if she was trying to understand a man who gave without expecting anything. The road narrowed into a quieter path, trees lining both sides, their shadows dancing under flashes of lightning in the dark sky. She finally asked him if he had ever been helped like this before, her voice careful, almost afraid of the answer she might hear. He let out a soft breath and admitted that most people walked past him, seeing only poverty, never the person he truly was. Her grip tightened on the blanket, guilt rising in her chest, as if his words were quietly exposing something about her own past. For a moment, she looked like she wanted to confess something, but instead, she stayed silent, holding her truth deep inside. The truck's engine made a strange sound, then coughed once, twice, before suddenly losing power on the empty road. He tried to restart it, but the engine refused, leaving them stranded again, this time with no lights, no shelter, just darkness. He stepped out once more, checking under the hood despite the heavy rain, determined to fix it no matter how long it took. From inside, she watched him struggle again, and this time, her eyes held not just emotion, but a decision she could no longer delay. The rain kept pouring as the farmer worked under the hood, his hands shaking slightly from cold, yet he refused to give up. Inside the truck, the old woman took a deep breath, her eyes closing for a moment, as if preparing herself for something serious. She stepped out into the storm, the blanket slipping from her shoulders, her posture no longer fragile, but strangely composed. He looked up, surprised, asking her to stay inside, but this time there was something different in the way she held herself. Her voice changed, calm and firm, as she told him he didn't need to struggle anymore, not tonight, not after everything he had done. He frowned slightly, confused by her words, rain dripping from his face as he tried to understand what she truly meant. From her pocket, she pulled out a small, waterproof phone, nothing like what he expected from someone who seemed so helpless before. Within seconds, she made a call, her tone precise, authoritative, giving instructions like someone used to being obeyed instantly. He stood there frozen, watching her, realizing the fragile woman he had helped was not who she appeared to be at all. Far in the distance, headlights suddenly appeared, multiple vehicles cutting through the rain, moving fast toward their location. His heart began to race, uncertainty filling his chest, as the quiet night turned into something far bigger than he imagined. And as the vehicles surrounded them, the truth he never expected was finally about to step out of the shadows and face him. The vehicles came to a sudden stop around them, doors opening in unison as men in dark suits stepped out with sharp, alert eyes. The farmer instinctively stepped back, his heart pounding, unsure if he had unknowingly walked into danger far beyond his understanding. The old woman stood still, no longer trembling, her presence now commanding, as if the storm itself answered to her will. One of the men rushed forward with an umbrella, holding it over her respectfully, addressing her in a tone filled with authority and fear. The farmer's confusion deepened as he watched their behavior, realizing this was not ordinary help, but something powerful and controlled. She turned toward him slowly, her eyes soft again, but now carrying a truth that could no longer remain hidden between them. She told him she was not just a helpless traveler, but someone who owned companies, lands, and lives far beyond his world. His breath caught in his throat, disbelief flooding his mind as every moment from the night replayed in a completely different light. She explained she had been testing people, moving without identity, searching for kindness untouched by greed or recognition. Tears filled her eyes as she admitted that most had failed her test, but he had passed without even knowing it existed. The farmer stood speechless, his soaked clothes clinging to him, unable to process how a simple act had led to this moment. And then she stepped closer, her voice trembling slightly, ready to offer something that would change his life forever. She stood in front of him, the storm now fading, her voice softer than before, yet filled with a truth that carried real weight. She told him that kindness like his was rare, not because people couldn't help, but because they often chose not to. The men around them stepped back, giving space, as if even they understood that this moment belonged only to the two of them. He shook his head slightly, saying he didn't do anything special. Just what his heart told him was right in that moment. Her eyes filled with tears as she smiled, explaining that doing the right thing without expecting reward was the rarest thing of all. She handed him a card, simple in appearance, but carrying access to a world he had never imagined in his entire life. She told him his farm would be rebuilt, his struggles eased, and his future secured, not as charity, but as respect for his heart. He hesitated, unsure if he should accept it, but she gently closed his hand, reminding him that sometimes blessings must be received. Before we dive in, let us know in the comments what time is it and where are you watching from. Let's start. As the convoy prepared to leave, she looked back one last time, her expression carrying both gratitude and something unspoken. The farmer stood there in silence, the rain now light, his life forever changed by a moment that began with simple kindness. Some stories leave a mark forever, like the video. Subscribe now and be here for the next unforgettable experience.